engineers, I've met more of the more inventive people in that entire engineering discipline anyway. So I think you're right, Nick. You do it because you love it, and it's a lot of fun.
It's a challenge.
It is a challenge, absolutely.
So when we get together in another 10 years for the next analog reunion, what are going to be the big surprises to the design community, the engineer community?
The analog is still going strong.
Strong?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say,
Yes.
yeah, it's probably going to be the survival aspect. A lot of people predicted when we started doing digital electronics that analog would go away. And what they found out is, of course, that analog is probably the major interface between the digital processor or whatever you have and people.
The real world.
And I think that's going to continue to happen. That as we go forward, we're going to find more and more people trying to find out how to interface and how to work with and how to use all these wonderful tools. And analog will play a very major part in that.
Analog guys understand the problem. They often understand the physical problem. And the digital guys have no idea.
Well, that's
Well, the
going a
digital
little
guys
too
really have an
far.
idea. They just don't have an idea how to solve it. They know the problem, but you can't solve everything with digital. Everything can be solved with analog, but it's not always practical. But digital cannot solve everything. You still must interface with the real world.
Do you think that analog design will be more tools-centric, software-centric in the future, or do you think it's really still going to be hardcore?
I don't think so.
Let's
There
figure out
will
where the
there will
current's
be
flowing.
more tools, but I don't think tools will ever replace the human mind. I don't think that'll happen. Tools are helpful. Hey,
Tools can also waste your time.
well, we have
no.
tools right now, okay? I mean, you've got the slide rule, Bob.
I don't use it every week, Nick.
No, but you've
I've
got
been
it.
designing thousands and thousands of circuits without even a slide rule because you don't need a slide rule.
Okay.
Okay.
What I'm saying is you have one, and there will be tools available, but the human mind is going to be the main tool.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Martin?
I'm half in agreement,
Half an agreement, all right.
but only half. Tools inevitably have to be more important than either my two co-speakers are saying, because basically we were raised in a much more simple world than it is today. We had a lot less to learn to get to where we are, and because we were in this industry for 30 plus years each of us, we've been able to keep up with the developments. But anyone coming into the industry today will need tools to be able to even get to where we are. So tools are very, very important. And I think that if you ignore the use of tools, you're not going to get there today. So I'm half in agreement that, yeah, we'll still need the creative.
You don't want to
people.
become dependent on them.
No, but you're going to have to use them. You're going to have to learn to use the new tools. Bob will sooner or later have to learn to use PowerPoint.
No, I won't. But as for Sparks,
PowerPoint being I think being a little bit of a stretch, but yes, tools will be necessary. But I still think the human mind is the most important tool.
well,
you have
to tell when your tools are lying to you, and that's not easy. Spice.
That's where the mind comes into play.
Yeah, I know,
Okay,
I know.
But at any rate, especially when you consider things like nanotechnology, which is real, it's here today, and it's growing faster than most people realize. You can't really touch nanotechnology without some kind of tool. You just can't do it. Maybe someday, but today, no. But still, tools are important, and they will become more important. But what we have upstairs is going to grow in importance as well.
So what pearls of wisdom would you offer up to the next generation of analog designers?
First of all, to be an analog designer is not anything you can learn in any school or any college of hard knocks. You have to learn it over a long time. I had to. It took me years and years to say, oh, I have something, it works. Somebody else designed it. Can I design better? No, not now. Can I define what better would be if I could design it? Not this week. But eventually you learn that I can design something But it's not, designing things ain't easy, and it is not learnable in any school I know.
I agree with Bob, and on that note, I will say that my suggestion would be to learn all you can, and don't ever think that your education is completed. Education is an ongoing thing. You learn on your own, yes, but you're still learning. You're still learning. I mean, read the trade publications, read what the new things are. Take a look at the IEEE publications and study those. Pick an area that you really like, and then go for it. Yeah. But don't ignore the rest. Be familiar with as much as you reasonably can, but really focus on an area that you enjoy and learn everything you can about it.
It sounds like that's one of the essential reasons why analog engineering has kept you so engaged throughout your career, is that you're always learning, there's always new challenges, problems you couldn't solve before. Maybe if you spent a little bit more time on it, you will come up with an insight.
I got a case. Some guy in Germany asked me, I want to do a amplifier, a signal processor like a digital pop, but I don't want to do it digital. I want to do it analog. So he said, if I turn the voltage from 1 to 0 volts or whatever, I want to get either this signal or that signal or a mix, a blend. Fine. I said, I'm going to write that down. I don't know how to do it. 87,000 miles later, I said, oh, I know how to do that, except I can't say I invented it. It's a multiplier. You can buy those damn things from Analog Devices for 16 bucks. So I told the guy, he said, well, I don't want to spend 16 bucks. And I said, I knew you would say that. You can use an element14 700 for 89 cents, and it'll probably be better in some features than the analog. But it took me 87,000 miles to realize, oh, I could help the son of a gun, but it wasn't obvious for the longest gosh darn time.
Okay, perhaps the real pearl out of all of this is you try to stay up to date. Most jobs, when you get into them, it's a defined job. And as a result, you end up just doing what that job required. That is a dead end. In analog, we're lucky enough that things are changing so quickly, our job is changing so quickly, we've been forced to keep up to date. One of the great things I found out about the linear seminar was I had to learn all the stuff that the other groups were doing so we could make presentations on them and help other people use them. It kept me up to date, kept me interested, and it's a real future then. But if you go into a job saying, I'm going to be the power supply designer, and all you learn about is, well, the new generation of capacitors that you can use, or the new generation of transformers that you can use, not very interesting. So I say look for a job that is always challenging you to move to the next step. Think outside the box and go for it.
Excellent.
Martin, can I agree largely, except you don't forget the old stuff, because what you learned about op amps 30 years ago is largely true, and you use it every week, but you don't even have to think about it.
Bob, they got old farts like us around to remind them of that.
Yeah.
So you commented on the fierce individualism of the analog designer.
Yes.
And yet, when I look at what your presentations and your lectures across the world, you were bringing together people in a community. You drew engineers together over a common awareness and a common challenge.
There's another aspect to it. It's the teaching aspect. Sharing what we know I can understand how teachers do their job, because sharing what you know with someone else and seeing them go away and be able to use it is one of the biggest rewards I've ever had in my life.
That's great.
So
I agree.
It's the teaching. Yeah.
Yes.
At least for us.
Bob, you were going to say something?
I blinked. I can't remember what I was going to say, but I largely agree. It's fun.
Excellent. Well, one of the reasons we want to bring the three of you here today is that we wanted to honor you as leaders in the analog design community, individuals who have taken it upon themselves to bring together engineers before people talked about the word community. And as such, we want to present you each with an award and a lifetime achievement, and thank you very much for your contribution to the profession.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks again for the interview.
Thank you, Jeff.